Welcome back, everybody, to King's Quest IV, The Perils of Rosella. We're going to wrap things up in this episode, though we still have quite a bunch of points left to get. I brought us back here to this screen, to the Skull Cave, the mysterious Skull Cave, because now that Lolotte has told us she wants Pandora's box, that's going to open up the events in this cave. Yeah, let's just go right in, shall we? Oh. This is a dismal and dreary cave. Within it reside 3 one-eyed old witches. In the center of the cave, over a hot fire, boils a foul-smelling brew inside a large black cauldron. Uh-oh, one of them's after me. We're going to just kite her around the cauldron. And what you're supposed to do here, this is really finicky. You're supposed to notice that they're passing a glass eye, a small glass eye between them. That's how they see. So you're supposed to get close to them enough to snatch the eye. Here we go. You just managed to snatch the glass eye from the grasp of the old witches. Now they are totally blind and helpless. Give us back our eye, the old witches plead. Hanging quotation mark. So they're all helpless. Talk witches. Give us back our eye. Okay. So I could give it back to them now, but why would I? Let's just leave the cave. Haha. All right, let's go back in. So if you do this, they actually give you something. As you re-enter the dismal cave, the 3 one-eyed witches throw something toward you, which lands on the ground. Here, take it, they cry. It'll ward off the undead. Oh, you'll need it. Now please give us back our eye. You think about it. Let's just look at the ground. You see a black scarab on the cave floor. Get scarab. Look, scarab. Obsidian scarab. So let's be nice and give the eye back. You throw the glass eye to the 3 old hags, who once again take turns peering at you. Come closer, dear, one says. We'd like to give a little gift to you. Nope, we're gonna just skirt on by and leave the cave. That's just to get a few extra points, and it follows the general ethos of the King's Quest series. You know, be kind, be nice, do good things. If you have to kill, it has to be someone who really, really deserves it. You know, really evil, a really evil being, and you know, even then do it in the kindest way possible. Although, you know, Graham did push the witch of Hansel and Gretel into her oven and cooked her in her own oven. So, you know, we play a little fast and loose with the rules. So now, once I move screens now, because everything has been set in motion and the next part of the game needs to be done at night, we're going to transition. So watch this. Like a heavy blanket, darkness enfolds you. Ooh. So remember when I was talking about So this version that I'm playing now restores the separate screens for day and night. So if I go back up to the other screen, so, you know, notice how you kind of see the light coming in from inside the skull cave, and we've got this darker ground and the forest. In the version of the game that you get now with all of the various collections like on GOG, and you can get the collection on Steam as well, that version has, because it's based on the final release of the game, which compressed the game so that it would fit on fewer discs, you didn't have these very distinct day and night screens for the rest of the game. All of them featured scenes that could be for day and night, and the only thing that changed was the night sky, right? So you can see the night sky there. So these screens here would still have kind of daylight features on the ground. It's not something that you would necessarily notice if you didn't know about it and you were just playing the games. But I remember thinking, wait a minute, this doesn't look right. It doesn't look the way that I remember. Because when I was a kid, I had the first version of the game, the first release, that was on 9 diskettes, 9 5.25 diskettes, floppy diskettes. And it had these original scenes. So just a little tidbit there. Right. So we need to do stuff now in the haunted mansion. Perhaps we'll get a clue. Open a clue to where Pandora's box is. But where could this clue come from? What's that you hear? Why, it's the sound of a crying baby, and it's coming from upstairs. Oh, well, let's go see what's going on. How could there be a baby here? You hear a baby crying. Look, it appears as if this was once the master bedroom. However, cobwebs hang everywhere and dust covers the furniture. I'd also question why all the mirrors in the house ended up like broken like that. The crying baby seems to be in here. Oh dear. Look, crib. The baby cradle rocks to and fro as a baby's voice wails from within. Look in cradle. With trepidation, you peek into the rocking cradle and see nothing. Tentatively, you reach your hand into it. There's nothing there. What? Can I talk to the baby? Talk, baby. You speak in a soft, trembly voice to the fretful baby ghost. Fortunately, the poor little thing continues its pathetic crying. Oh, dear. So we need to find something to get the baby to stop crying, to calm the baby down. So we need to find something. Well, it's a baby ghost. So maybe if we found something that the baby had in life. It's pretty grim to think about it, but that's exactly what we need to find. In fact, we're going to meet up with 5 ghosts in this house, and we need to dig up. We need to go into the graveyard and dig up 5 things. And we're also going to need to deal with undead. But because we have the scarab, you'll recall, it acts as a repellent for the undead. I don't know how you would do this without the scarab. So now we're going to read the tombstones because we need to figure out where the baby is buried. Look, tombstone. Each tombstone has an epitaph written on it. Read epitaph. Oh my God. Here lies a poor woman who was always tired. She lived in a house where help wasn't hired. Her last words on earth were, "Dear friends, I am going to where there's no cooking or washing or sewing. For everything there is exact to my wishes, for where they don't eat, there's no washing of dishes. I'll be where loud anthems will always be ringing, but having no voice, I'll be quit of the singing. Don't mourn for me now, don't mourn for me never. I'm going to do nothing forever and ever." I love these epitaphs. They get a bit better in a future game, in King's Quest VII, which also features Princess Rosella. So it sort of carried that, or at least makes it a tradition of games with Rosella having epitaphs that are kind of funny. 1634 to 1672. She done her best. That's all we can aspire to. Betty Cowden, 1650 to 1669. So that's 19 years old. Here lieth the body of Betty Cowden, who would live longer than she could. Sorrow and grief made her decay when she lost her lover at sea one day. That one's going to be important. Dentist Brown. Stranger, approach this spot with gravity. John Brown is filling his last cavity. At length, my friends, the feast of life is over. I've eat sufficient and I'll drink no more. Wait, what? At length, my friends, this feast of life is o'er. Okay. I've eat sufficient and I'll drink no more. My night is come, I've spent a jovial day. 'Tis time to part, but oh, what is to pay? That sounds vaguely Shakespearean. You're not close enough. Oh, come on, I'm right at it. Rebecca Freeland, 1598. She drank good ale, good punch and wine, and lived to the age of 99. 1546. Reader, here lies, but forbear to read more without a tear, but forbear? Y'all need to know, rhyme. Words rhyme. Certain words rhyme. Even if they're written the same way, they don't rhyme. Anyway, one, I cannot speak the rest. You may weep, I'll smite my breast. Grief preventing, and this stone too small to be written on. Maybe it's the sort of thing where in the past, in 1546, these words would have rhymed, but they've since drifted. That could be a thing. We'll say that that's what's going on. Only this, a little boy, Willie, in Abram's bosom laid. Well, laid doesn't rhyme with anything there. Well done. Okay. Well, we didn't find a baby, unless the baby was Willie. Let's go over to the other side. Oh. Gotta deal with the Zambos. Now, are any of these Zambos the people that I'm gonna dig up the graves to, I wonder? That would be awkward. Yeah, close enough. At least I think this is a grave. I don't think so. Strong and athletic was my frame, far from my native home I came, and manly fought with Simon Byrne. Alas, but lived not to return. Reader, take warning by my fate, lest you should rue your case too late. If you have ever fought before, determine now to fight no more. 6 feet beneath this funeral wreath is laid upon the shelf one Jerry Jones, who dealt in bones, and now he's bones himself. Beneath this stone, a lump of clay, lies Uncle Peter Dannels, who early in the month of May took off his winter flannels. What does that mean? He froze to death in May? Dr. I Letsam. When people's ill, they come to I. I physics, bleeds, and sweats 'em. Sometimes they live, sometimes they die. What's that to I? I lets 'em. To the ever-living memory of Hiram Bennett, baby son of Edward and Sarah Bennett, who by a sudden surprise fell asleep the 11th day of November, 1553, aged 6 months. Oh, that's sad. But that is the baby. So I'm going to save my game here under grave digging, because we're going to dig here at the baby's grave. You carefully dig a small hole at the poor baby's grave. What's this? You have uncovered a silver baby rattle. You bend down, pick it up, and carry it with you. Yeah, so that's going to be important. Let's read the rest of the epitaphs before we get back to the house. Oh, yeah. Do you know what? I really like this one, so I'm going to read it again. When people's ill, they come to I physics bleeds and sweats 'em. Sometimes they live, sometimes they die. What's that to I lets 'em. I like the rhythm of it. Here lies the body of Mary Ann Louder. She burst while drinking a Sedlitz powder. Called from this world to her heavenly rest, she should have waited till it effervesced. I don't know if I understand that one. It sounds like an old-timey thing. Here I lie with my 3 daughters, who died drinking Chetlam waters. If we had stuck to Epsom salt, we should not sleep in this cold vault. Again, that seems like an old-timey thing again. You're not close enough. Come on. I am, though. Not close enough. But I am. It's right here. Maybe I have to read from this side? Not close enough. Okay, well, we're going to assume that that's nothing then. Oh, come on, game. Okay, I'm going to assume there's nothing there. 1643. Here lies Newberry Will. His life was finished 'cause he took ill. But none'll miss him. He should have been wiser. 'Tis his own fault for being such a miser. Thorpe's corpse. Oh, that makes me laugh. Okay, so here. Lord Coningsby, 1559 to 1626. Sleepeth here in peace, an honourable man, a valiant soldier. He served his country well. I plant these shrubs upon your grave, dear wife, that something on this spot may boast of life. Shrubs must wither and all earth must rot. Shrubs may revive, but you, thank heaven, will not. Oh, oh, oh. Wow. Okay, so we got the baby rattle, so let's go deal with that situation. What's that you hear? Why, it's the sound of a crying baby, and it's coming from upstairs. You hear a baby crying. Give rattle. You drop the silver rattle into the baby cradle. As you do so, the crying of the baby ghost and the rocking of the cradle cease. You breathe a big sigh of relief. Sure we'll never have to. Suddenly you hear a terrible rattling of chains from downstairs. The sound of loud moaning and the rattling of heavy trains disturbs you. Look. Oh, okay. Look, ghost. The ghost of a stooped old miser trudges through the house, lugging heavy chains behind him. He moans loudly. In frustration as he appears to be searching for something he can't find. Okay, I guess we're just gonna have to go find it for him. Out in the graveyard. You'll remember that we did find the grave of a miser, which was, I believe, all the way over here. Pretty sure it's this one. Yeah, miser. I'm going to do a save just in case. We're just digging as the zombies just sink back into the ground. You dig a small hole at the grave of the old miser. Aha! You have found a bag of gold coins. We'll just let that zombie just wander around. He's fine. He is fine. Oprin 4 is what I wrote there. All right, where are you? Oh. What? Oh, wait. Maybe I need to change rooms? Yes, okay. Oh, okay. Give coins. You offer the bag of gold coins to the old miser ghost. He greedily snatches it from your hands and then promptly disappears. Whoosh. There. Oh, crap. The sound of sorrowful weeping floats down from upstairs. Yep, sound of weeping. Look, ghost. You see the sad ghost of a beautiful young woman. She sits in her rocking chair and weeps as if her heart will break. I mean, I think her heart is broken. Talk, ghost. You try to comfort the lady ghost, but she doesn't respond. It seems as if she doesn't even know you're here, as she continues her deep sobbing. Did y'all notice that kind of panel on the ceiling there? We'll get to that, but first, we need to find the grave of this weeping lady ghost. You might remember that there was a young woman, 19 years old, whose fiancé had died at sea, and I believe it's this one. Betty Cowden, yeah, lost her lover at sea one day. So let me do a save and dig. You carefully dig a small hole at the sad lady ghost's grave. Yeah, you have found a lovely locket. Actually, let's take a look at the locket. Give locket. You hand the lovely locket to the distraught ghost. The locket seems to make her very happy as she vanishes into thin air. There. I'm sure that's the last. What was that? A loud wailing sound comes from downstairs. Whoa. Look, ghost. You have encountered the gentleman ghost of the distinguished lord of the manor. He wails despondently as he seems to be looking for something he desperately wants. Y'all could just, probably go into your graves and get what you want? No, you have to depend on me, a peasant girl, to do your job for you. So that would be this grave. Yeah. Again, we'll save in case. Oh, it's a medal. It's a medal that was in his grave. I press enter thinking it was the zombie message, but no, it was the thing that we found. Oprin 4 again. Often get off by 1 errors on the keyboard. Hello? Where are you? There we go. Give medal. You're not close enough. Yep. Figured as much. Here we go. You offer the Medal of Honor to the wailing ghost. He takes it from your hands with great reverence. Satisfied, he vanishes into thin air. And you guessed it, we're not done. Here comes the final ghost. A cute little boy ghost suddenly appears. He grins mischievously at you, begins to giggle, and runs from the room. All right. Let's go get something for this ghost. And that was one of the first graves that we had found. A little boy. Willie was his name. Read epitaph. Reader. Oh yeah, the one that like rhymes weirdly. Yeah, only this, a little boy Willie. So let's do a save just in case. And dig. You dig a small hole at the little boy ghost's grave. Aha! You have uncovered a toy horse. Excellent. You hear naughty giggling as the little boy ghost runs from the room. Well, more like he climbs the ladder into the ceiling, into the attic. Climb. After adjusting your eyes to the gloom, you soon see that you have stumbled upon the musty attic of the old house. The trapdoor in the floor is open, and from it a ladder leads down to the room below. Useless junk and boxes clutter the room. There's an interesting chest near the open trapdoor. The little boy ghost laughs and refuses to budge from his seat on top of the chest. It might help if he had a toy to play with. Brilliant. We have just the thing. Give horse. You give the toy horse to the little boy ghost in hopes that he will vanish like the others before him. For a moment you fear that he will not, as he takes time to examine it carefully. Suddenly, he grins at you, and in a twinkling, disappears. Hooray! Look chest. An interesting wooden chest catches your attention. Open chest. Look in chest. You peek into the open chest and find an old set of sheet music. You take the sheet music and carry it with you. Look, sheet music. That's sheet music. What could we do with that? Well, you all remember the secret tower. Well, at the top of that tower is what we need the sheet music for. So let's go do that now. And I'm going to save on tower climbing. Let's see if we can use the diagonal. Yeah, the diagonal works quite well here. Sort of. Whoa. Okay. So you'll notice here that we are kind of saved by the fact that the staircase hugs the wall. So we are slightly safe. I believe so anyway. Also, just a little note here. Let's appreciate the way artistically that the interior scenes of this game, how they've been constructed. Like, notice kind of this cut, this slice. I'm sure there's a technical term for it, but it's as if they've like sliced the actual wall and we're seeing through that slice. If you know what I mean, like you look at the border of the tower and it's all like the rock, like they could have just as easily just, it's like, this is the staircase, but instead we have like that border around it that really makes it look as if we're looking into the scene from the outside. So here it is. Here's what we got. A dusty old pipe organ sits in the center of the tower room. When I was a kid, I thought that this thing over here, which is very clearly just to crack a hole in the floorboards, I thought this was like a toy plane on the ground. And also over here, I thought this was also a flute. I thought that pattern of pixels obviously meant that it was a flute. You know, dumb child. Sit. Play organ. You can only remember one oldie but goodie. What a virtuoso you are, Rosella. Whoops. Well, that was something that we just played from memory. But what about the sheet music that we just found? What's that gonna do? You find it difficult to read the old sheet music, but you attempt it anyway. What's this? A small drawer has opened in the organ. What kind of organ? Like the sequence of, like, for this to happen based on playing exactly those notes, like what kind of internal memory does this organ have? Anyway, it's not important. Look in drawer. You see a skeleton key in the drawer. Ooh. You take the skeleton key from the drawer. Hooray. Get up. What could this skeleton key open? Let's do a save. Tower climbing. It would not do to fall to our demise here. Can we diagonalize? We can. Walking diagonally for some reason feels slower. Right, so now we have a skeleton key. So what is that going to open? Well, of all the screens that we've seen, haven't really commented too much about it, but on this screen over here, something quite peculiar. What's that in the mountainside? This is a scary old cemetery. Many of the tombstones... Blah, 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 blah. How odd. You see a crypt door built right into the mountainside. And also Zambos. Let's just deal with them. Look, crypt. The stone crypt is built into the mountainside. Oh. Look, door. The crypt door is closed. Open door. The door is locked. Ah, well, it turns out we've got a skeleton key. Click. It unlocked. Dum-da-dum. Open door. Ooh. What an incredible place. This looks like an ancient burial tomb with hieroglyphics written on the walls and an old coffin against the far wall. A pile of rope is at the edge of the upper platform. You see an odd-looking little chest here. It must be Pandora's box. I don't know why it must be, but it is. Get rope. You reach down and get the pile of rope. To your happy surprise, you find that the rope is actually a rope ladder attached to the end of the platform. Gladly, you throw the rope ladder over the edge of the platform where it falls to the floor below. Hooray. Now, look, coffin. The lid of the coffin is decorated with hieroglyphics. I don't like this. Climb ladder. Look out for the mummy! Look, mummy. This mummy appears to be at least 1,000 years old. Its wrappings are loose and decayed, and it stinks! The mummy runs for your powerful scarab. Why is this mummy even here? There's really no way for you to have gotten this far without the scarab, because the zombies would have gotten you while you were digging. It makes me think that either they changed their minds in the way these puzzles worked, or maybe they added the zombies at a later stage, forgetting that the mummy was here. It just seems like something either was left out or forgotten or changed. That's really what it feels like. Look, box. Pandora's box is on the floor of the crypt. Get box. You're not close enough. Oh, come on. Oh dear, we've got Pandora's box. Climb ladder. You can open the box out of curiosity, but you die because you let loose all of the evils in the world and they kill you. So how's that? And now we've got what Lolote wants. So hopefully this will be enough. Lolotte smiles an evil smile. You know, she says, I've never asked you your name. What is it? You tell her, Rosella. Rosella, what a pretty name. You wonder what this is all about. You find out soon enough. Well, Rosella, Lolotte grins ominously, you've earned your reward. My son Edgar has fallen in love with you. I wish him to be happy, and I give you the honor of being his wife and my daughter-in-law. Your heart turns flips and somersaults as you hear this. Oh, Edgar. Hello? You'll be married first thing in the morning, she informs you. You will sleep in Edgar's room tonight while my son sleeps elsewhere. There'll be no premarital shenanigans on my watch. She motions to her goons. Let us relieve you of your burdensome load before you retire. You are so shocked by this tragic turn of events that you hardly notice your possessions being taken away. To her goons, Lolotte orders, escort our Rosella to her room. So that crow has been basically following us all over Tamir. You probably would have noticed. You think to yourself, now what? Oh dear. Look, normally this is Edgar's tower bedroom. Actually, for being in such an awful castle, it looks quite comfortable. But you're in no mood to care. Look, bed. This is a most unusual four-poster bed. Why is it unusual? Look, mirror. You look in the mirror and see the reflection of a poor but beautiful peasant girl. Why poor? It doesn't look poor. Look, window. You see the mountain out the window. Here's something at the door. What's this? Why, a beautiful red rose has been pushed under your door. You pick it up and carry it with you. Look, rose. You see nothing special. Inventory cannot be displayed at this time. Oh. Really? There we go. What a beautiful... why, there's a little gold key attached to this rose. Get key. You remove the little gold key from the red rose. I'm going to do a save here. Yeah, so we'll save it. We'll save it under beach. Lolotte's Castle. Unlock the clock. Door. Jesus. Open door. And now, time for treacherous stairs. Like very treacherous stairs. The goon is asleep. I have to be careful not to wake the goons, because then we get stuck back in the room with no key, and we lose the game because we marry Edgar in the morning, and Rosella literally dies of, like, heart failure or something. So now we're in the kitchen. You have discovered the castle's kitchen. Not a very pleasant kitchen, but a kitchen nonetheless. Against the back wall, 2 cabinets flank a cold stone fireplace. You see a long table under the one small window. Open cupboard. The cabinet is full of dishes. Okay. But what about over here? Here are all your possessions. Yay! Although the goon that took my possessions went out the other way from the throne room, so how did my things get here? Don't worry about it. Simply don't worry about it. So now that I got all my stuff back, let's go deal with Lolote. Let's be very careful to not wake the goons. Climbing. We should save. We should save. Now, I think if I go out there, I get caught. So let's not. Do you know what? Actually, for the sake of showing you that ending, let's do that. I did save. Whoops. What? Okay. But say, I must get caught. He was the only one still awake. Morning. The henchmen have taken your rose and you no longer have the gold key. It looks like you're destined to be Mrs. Edgar. She looks out to camera as if to say, "What have you done?" That dress is pretty hot though. Let's be serious. I now pronounce you man and wife. Edgar, you may kiss the bride. Fainting isn't going to help, Rosella. There's no getting out of this one. You're stuck being Mrs. Edgar for the rest of your life. Not to mention having old Lolote for a mother-in-law. Good luck. You're going to need it. Ba-dum-bum-ba-dum-bum. All right. And that's what happens. That's what happens in an alternate timeline. In the true timeline, however, we're gonna climb these stairs very carefully. Ooh, look. You see Lolote's bedroom door and a winding stairway leading down the tower. I'm gonna save here. Unlock door. Oh yeah. Unlock door with gold key. Click. Open door. Gotta be very careful here. Look. So, this is Lolote's bedchamber. You question her taste in decorating as her furniture is a bit on the gaudy side. And speaking of Lolote, the old bat is sound asleep on her massive bed. Look, Lolote. The evil fairy sleeps soundly in her bed. She wears Genesta's magic talisman around her neck, and you see it gleaming upon her chest. As she sleeps, she makes very strange clicking sounds. Ugh. So, how are we going to do this? Let's take a look at inventory. Oh, we can't see inventory at this time. Well, you're just going to have to take my word for it that we're just going to shoot her with the Cupid's bow and arrow. You aim the golden arrow toward Lolote. You let go of the bowstring. Zing! A direct hit. Crit, crit, crit. Lolote sits straight up in bed, a look of agony upon her face. What did you do to me? She shrieks. Melting! Melting! No, wait, that's another story. Let's try again. It hurts. It hurts. Stop the pain. Stop it. Bleh, bleh. You cringe as you watch the evil fairy die a painful death. What happened, you wonder? How could Cupid's arrow have done that? You thought that those arrows were harmless and contained only love. Wait, that must be it. Love. Lolotte was so evil that when all that pure love entered her body, it acted as a poison to her system. In spite of yourself, you feel a sense of sweet revenge. As she breathes her last, Lolotte manages to gasp, I don't know how, but I'll get you for this. A bright new day is dawning. Edgar bows to you, acknowledging his evil mother's death. He begins to say, You may now walk freely about the castle, and suddenly begins to blush. Aw. Edgar's really a nice guy. Look, Lolotte. Lolotte is quite dead now. Genesta's magic talisman hangs from around her neck. Get talisman. Okay. Look, talisman. Ooh. Save here. What happens if I wear the talisman? Okay. Oh. Can I do magic now? Do magic. Try another way to say that. Use talisman. What do you want to do with the talisman? I don't know. Let's walk around. Let's walk back down and think about what we're gonna do with the talisman. So now we need to go here. And all the goons are quite happy that we've liberated them from Lolotte. So we actually haven't talked about this, but the story of Genesta and Lolotte, and there's even a little, Easter egg there with the way that she died, her green skin. It's very Wizard of Oz coded, right? The goons are even reminiscent of the flying monkeys. Get hen. Get box, right? Genesta is very Glinda coded. Lolotte is very Wicked Witch of the West coded. Get box. Oh, get Pandora's box specifically. And Rosella is very Dorothy coded. Oh. That looked like I was really close to just tumbling down and dying. What a way to go. Let's do a save. Look. You see nothing special. Look, throne. Currently, Lolotte's ornate gilded throne is empty. Can I sit on it? Sit on throne. You don't have time for that. Okay, fine. You are standing before Lolotte's dark castle on the edge of the rocky mountain. There's a small stable next to it. Let's go save our unicorn friend. Hello. We have entered Lolotte's stable. And it looks like an ordinary stable at that. The poor unicorn has been imprisoned here. Oh my god, okay. Free unicorn. Just open the gate and let the unicorn go. Okay. Open gate. As soon as you open the gate, the splendid wild unicorn impatiently leaves its hated prison. It quickly trots out the open stable door to freedom. Yay! Okay, and now before we go to the next screen, we're going to save. Because of that. Like, come on, game. If I... Okay. Like, there's almost no way. Do I do a diagonal? No. Diagonal doesn't help. Maybe if I approach from this side. No. I don't remember it being this difficult. Okay, I think I'm safe there. I'll do a save from here. Whew. No wonder the henchmen just fly. Going around that mountain path is... Okay, let's save here then. Video game. Yeah, if you fall from here, you're safe, but let's not test it, shall we? There's one final thing before we go back to Genesta's Island, and that's returning the box to the crypt. Climb. Stupid mummy. Put box on floor. We climb. We close door. And we lock door. You place the skeleton key in the lock of the crypt door. Click. It locked. You kick the key through a crack under the door. Now no one will ever accidentally release the evils of Pandora's box into the world. Ever, ever, ever. Let's do a save. Let's do a save as we make our final trek westward to the ocean and Genesta's Palace. So Rosella did really help, you know, in her adventures in Tamir. She helped the 5 ghosts of the manor find peace. She saved this stupid prince with the crown. I don't know where the prince came from or where he went. We got the lute player, the minstrel. We got him a new job. He's off acting somewhere, I guess. The dwarves, we cleaned their house. That's pretty nice of us. The fishermen, we gave them all sorts of diamonds. And again, somehow they'll be able to shop. I don't know where they're going to shop. I'm going to save here. Who else did we help? Pan, we gave him a new instrument. He's got a lute now. He seems happy. We got rid of Lalote. Right? Lalote's dead. That's going to help everyone. Oh, no, 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 no. Eaten by the shark. Okay, fine. Something tells me that I was on the wrong screen. No, I don't think so. I guess it is 2 screens. Oh no, it's 1 screen from the dock, because the dock goes out 1 screen into the ocean. Yeah. Here we are. Tweet. Tweet. Genesta's tiny fairies guard the palace door. Look. Before you, the palace door beckons, flanked on both sides by lilac shrubs. Open door. This is the entry hall of the enchanted ivory palace. 2 of the doors are closed and presumably off limits to uninvited visitors. The left doorway, however, is open. You are on a tower stairway of the island's ivory palace. Oops. Oh. Genesta's bedchamber is very beautiful and serene. Genesta lies very still upon the seashell bed, her concerned fairy helpers hovering near and her pet snow leopard lying close by. Aw, I want a pet snow leopard. Oh, he's so cute. Look, Genesta. Genesta. The lovely fairy is visibly fading fast. Within hours, if she doesn't get her magic talisman back, she'll be dead. Talk, Genesta. Why do I put an R? As you attempt to speak to the gravely ill Genesta, her small fairy helpers flutter madly about, trying to prevent you from disturbing her. Well, y'all, guess what I got? You give the magic talisman to the dying fairy. Almost instantly, the color returns to her cheeks and her green eyes begin to sparkle. She sits up in bed, stretches, and smiles at you. Hooray! "You've saved my life, Rosella," the beautiful fairy says gratefully. "And you have saved Tamir from the persecution of Lolotte. We are deeply indebted to you. I want to go outside. I need to feel the warm sun on my face." Exuberantly was the one. And suddenly you find yourself outside. "My little hen!" Genesta suddenly exclaims. "Wherever did you find her?" You explain that the ogre had possession of her. Full 230 points. "Poor thing," she says. "Well, at least she's back home now." "How did the ogre get a hold of her? Genesta, what have you been doing?" "Now for you, Rosella," Genesta says. "It's my turn to help you out. I will return you to Daventry, and with the magic fruit you will be able to save your father's life. We'd better hurry, though, as he doesn't have much time left." Yes, you are anxious to get home again. "But first," Genesta proclaims, "let's replace these peasant clothes with your royal gown. You don't need to pretend to be a poor girl anymore." With a twinkle in her eye, Genesta announces there is someone else deserving of a reward for his kindness and heroism. "Oh, Edgar. You have a beautiful soul, Edgar," the fairy says to the ugly little man. "You should look like who you are." Poof. "This handsome hunk is Edgar?" "Rosella," he says, "I love you. Will you marry me?" You think about it. You think about it some more. Then, "I'm sorry, Edgar. You're very sweet, but I must immediately return home." "Perhaps we'll meet again," you say. Well, Rosella, Janesta announces, it's time for you to go. Your father, goodbye, will never forget you. Really doesn't give you time enough to read. Hooray, we're back in the castle. We'll pick up the Forgotten Adventurer's cap. You give the healing fruit to your dying father and strongly urge him to take a bite, which he weakly does. How are you feeling, father? You excitedly ask him. Never felt better in my life, is his reply. What is in this fruit anyway, he wonders. It is magic, father. And you tell your excited family of your adventure in Tamir. I don't think you're through with this hat yet, you say. Your brother Alexander and your mother Queen Valenice readily agree. You've got too much life ahead of you. Yay! That's it, everybody. The ending of King's Quest IV, The Perils of Rosella. So all's well that ends well. Until next time, goodbye. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next game, King's Quest V.